Good morning. Truth Disclosure 369 in the house once again. Been a minute since I've been on here. Just decided to get on here this morning and put my little take in on what's going on, rants, and et cetera, et cetera. But hopefully all is doing well. Whoever come across this video, um, you know, I greet you in the universal greeting words of peace. And like I was saying, it's been up kind of early this morning. Guess I just felt like getting on here, getting in the mood of just giving my little opinion on certain things. And like I said, it's an opinion, it's a truth that I carry. And I stand on it. That's the hill I'm a down. And I respect everybody else for their hills that they stand on. But first of all, foremost, I pray that each and every person who may come across this is in their right mind. They are blessed and they're shielded from a lot of this craziness and this crap that is going on. Through ever faith and trust in higher power, however a person may look at it, but the reality of it it's just not that. You have to also be willing to stand your ground on certain things. And I see a lot of that really not happening. I see people who claim one thing, but yet they missing it on another thing. And so it becomes a point where, like I've always stated, that hypocrisy just reigns supreme right now. And it's sad. But I'm thankful to be on here today, blessed. I just want to get on here and speak on some things. And hopefully, I come on here. And people don't understand. Some people care about that type of stuff, and I respect people who do that. But me, when it comes to putting videos out and doing, this is something I care about for the fact just of lending support and a voice to so many others who are speaking on certain things that society don't want to look at, society don't want to accept, society want to look the other way in denial. Even though it's there, they don't want to look at it. Even though those who are looking away are impacted by it, they still don't want to look at it. So I don't get on here for no likes or for no, just the want for peace and truth to come out and for disclosure. And that's the whole purpose of why I named Truth Disclosure 369, which goes into number of aspects that revolve around Nikola Tesla's theories. But that's the whole thing. I don't care, but I don't give a damn about the attention seeking or about whether I'm not doing mine like this person or I don't sound. I don't care about that. My whole thing is about just reaching whoever may lend an ear to hear and understand that, hey, it's people who may be similar in my frame of thought frame. They don't have no other way to express themselves. So maybe this could be something that shows that you're not alone in how you feel or how you see and perceive things that's happening around you. So as long as that's happening, I'm good. I don't care. I don't need to be on here advertising about go get gold and go get silver and all this stuff. And all, just to try. I look at it like this: God going to take care of those who continue to trust in the infinite source, period. With all resources available, where it doesn't even fucking matter. Um, and my take on a lot of things, I don't agree with a lot of this stuff that's being put out here as far as with this whole economy thing. Everybody want to ditch, want to start talking about grabbing gold and all this other stuff in a system that's com- consi- con- consistently in control of all those type of things. And that's something that I don't care about that. As long as long as I'm on here adding to the many voices on the hypocrisy, the truths that are being kept from people, the lies that are continuing to be rammed down people's throats, the control and tyranny, which is um, completely overshadowing not only this country, but other countries as well, the cult that's behind it, and the secrets of things that they wanted to keep hidden, but they no longer could do it. It's easing out more and more, and they continue to try and find ways to try and cover it up, but they can't no more. It's getting out here. It's obvious to many, and to some, it's fleeting because of the environment in which we in. So with that, I'm gonna go in and get into this. Like I said, it's crazy, man. This is a ridiculous situation we in. It's, it's scary. And yes, I'm a grown man. I can say that. I don't care what people gotta see it for what it is. It's scary. And then you can understand the fear that's out here because this is what they want. This is all they fucking want. This is the main tool for controlling the masses, which has been used for thousands of years. Um, the conception of fear, and everything that is destabilizing the world and societies all across, it's all some set of fear, some protocols of fear are there. We have our own protocols of fear here in this country. We tend to be allowed to overshadow our better judgment on things, and it doesn't mean that it's not good. It's not beneficial. And other places have their own process of fear that they're dealing with, trying to overcome. But fear is the main thing. But we see what's happening around us. It's unfortunate. It's the most ridiculous stuff that you could think of. It's funny because when you think of it, this whole thing about Trump, they just want 48 years on this life cycle. And I could vividly remember periods in my childhood and teenage years, from even though a person didn't have, as a child, didn't have an understanding really of the politics or the things that were going on, a person could pick up as a child how the energies and how off things were, but you saw how it affected your parents or people around you. I've seen this. I have experienced it, so I can say. But throughout this whole time, I have never seen society in such of a claptrap like it is now, and it's completely to the point where you can obviously see that it's manipulated. It's not something that is just random. It's not something that just, oh, a couple of mistakes here, this is what happened. No, it's intentionally done. And you see it in everyday dealings with the media, with these corrupt politicians, with everything that's going on, basically with the energy companies, everything. So you see this whole deal with Trump, you know. Let me go to something real quick while I'm running my mouth. So I'm gonna go to the Drudge Report because it's a couple of. All right, so of course this is the no brainer subject that is overtaking everything. You know, and it's almost like when are we gonna get past a lot of this stuff? But it's a reason for them. Now people can say what they want, and I've already stated how I felt about Trump. I don't see Trump as being a savior. I don't see Trump as being no great white hype, hope, or anything. You know, all I see Trump is a character that's playing a role, and that role is to really shine a light on all the corruption and all the instability that has always been in the government of this country as well as other places. Because now it's a light shining on every government all around, all the hypocrisy, all this stuff. And it seemed like ever since his rise to political power or whatever, it's always been this fight against this deep state or this other group or whatever it is. And you see all this stuff that's being mustered against Trump or against those who profess Trump or claim, MAGA or whatever. But the whole deal is people are missing the whole point. I mean, just like how this stuff right here, I look at this stuff, I even seen the campaign, which was moving because it's speaking toward all the grievances mostly that people are dealing with, but who really had a um, eyes and ears open. But they want to keep pressing the issue on something that really is not an issue at all. The only reason why it's an issue is because this, this man and what he represents is hated and feared by most of the population. So in order to keep people on pacified and all this shit, you gotta make it seem like, oh, this is the worst thing, the worst man, the worst stuff that could have been have done. This is good. This man needs to deserve. And it's sad because everything they're talking about. And one thing about it, a few years back I said the same shit. It's like everything that they're condemning and blaming and pointing the finger at Trump and all the nonsense, the deception and the crap that was being done while that administration was in office is no different than the same crap that the same people pointing the fingers are accepting from their own leaders. Their own leaders are doing. Out of one side of their mouth, they're condemning, and out the other side of their mouth, they're trying to shift blame of shit off of stuff that they're doing and align and deceiving the people that they serve, supposedly serve. It's sad to see so many people caught up in this mess, man, because it's back and forth. And I see it for what it is. It needs to happen because this is the only way people are going to see how corrupt all this stuff is. Now, take it or leave it, love him or hate him, Trump was meant for a reason. To a point where these folks had to literally come with charges and bogus had to literally trump up charges like literally according to his name, trump up stuff just to keep him from having that popularity or having that influence for another election cycle, which this election, I can't express this enough. This is just my opinion, and it's how I look at it. It's showing you how frivolous and how dumb this shit is. Get go. This election process is trash. It's been trash. The people that people are that have to choose from is trash. The parties are trash. They have been gone. There is no constitution that is respected or acknowledged, even though liars and all this other act like they go by that. Because if there was, then half of this stuff that's going on wouldn't even be happening, including the stuff that's going on against Trump or against his supposed his campaign for the next election cycle for the president. But the reality of it is, it's deeper than all that shit. People still sitting here and want to act like these folks represent them some kind of way. But how can you sit up here and you go after all this? This I've been said this. Everybody's screaming all this stuff about how Trump lied and did this, and everything that they're talking about, everything that they're trying to push on Trump, as far as with these payments to a porn star and all this other stuff, it's nothing different than a lot of these other supposed high-ranking folks is doing shit in the closet, get caught, they settle and all this stuff. But the sad thing about it, they trying to make it seem like it was something done to influence the election when they know it wasn't. When they know damn well everything that's dealing with Biden and the laptop and all that other stuff, that literally did have something to do with um influencing the election. And just like with the Hillary, they know this. The sad thing, people caught up in the Democratic and liberal thing, these folks will literally destroy their own who are ignorant to what the fuck their real intentions are. And then you have these glossy-eyed folks acting like they're speaking on behalf of everybody. Don't ever act like you're speaking for me. I don't give a damn about Democrat or Republican um talking points. Actions speak louder than words. If you ain't trying to save America or its people, or have the convictions that's needed to stand up for truth, regardless of where it takes you, you don't represent me. I don't represent you. There's nothing there to even negotiate about or even to consider. I respect for each their own, because there's no way that a person that could bow down or submit to shit like that when you know that's the reason why society in a whole is in the lurch that it's in. So they would rather keep people focused on Trump and all this stuff, Trump up charges to make it seem like this what happened was just a total like something just totally just you know it's emotional, because it's like it's sad. It hurts because I pray for everybody, all people in this country. I don't give a damn what color you are, what religion you represent, whatever. I pray for everybody, because it hurts to see so many people being used and abused by those that they claim have their back, and then watch these same people literally throw other people under the bus, engage people in aggressive and violent behavior and all this stuff, just because they're literally trying to give them a heads up or trying to share things that could enlighten and maybe empower people. It's sad to see that. People would rather see like these figures out here speaking on all this, like the DA and all that, Alvin Bragg, whatever his name is. It's sad to see New York in the state that it is, and all these brainwashed people walking around here acting like this man is holding up the law and all this stuff. And you see the dystopian way New York has plunged into crime and all this stuff, and then they act like they don't want to talk about it. Everything is on Trump. They don't, just like with Fauci, they always want to talk about January 6th and Trump. Don't want to talk about Fauci, the lies, the 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 fact that this man is involved in the murders of millions of people across the planet, including loved ones of mine. Don't want to talk about the fact that politics has been weaponized by the Democratic Party to a point that anything that is not agreed upon with that particular, this so-called reigning administration, then you will be labeled as a racist, phobe, an anti-phobe. If you're, and the sad thing about it, it's so silly now if you're black and you call out stuff. That's how silly this has begun. So now if you're black, it, you know, for example, when you call out some stuff that you know is fucking wrong, it's not right, just because you speaking out as a black person who cares, who loves truth, who wants people to be free and have peace, not all this bullshit, who wants harmony, who wants cooperation, who wants those who are working in the darkness to have light expose what the hell they've been doing. You could be called a racist by your own, by supposedly your own, or any other crazy stuff. Just because you know, and it's sad to see this shit how they do it, and people want to act like it's not true and all this stuff. Yeah, they do. They sell out everybody every day for votes. People wonder why the immigration thing is the way it is, because that's the way they want it. They won't ever fuck with the border. They won't ever keep the border closed. They won't ever do what needs to be done to have those communities and groups down there that live at that constantly have to deal with this stuff. And you know, it seemed like they'll put in a bag and a lurch because of what their own government is doing. They don't want it because they know, and then they give everybody's tax money away while you work your butt off through inflation and everything else. And then they send all this money everywhere else, including the immigrants and stuff, because they don't want that. They just want this some type of fake voter base that will continue to vote for them, even though it makes it's beyond gone from any type of resemblance of quality and sincerity. It's beyond that. It's gone, way gone, way gone. Like I said, 48 years, I cannot remember a time in childhood, teenage, or young adult years in which I remember distinctly the different things that have affected society, affected this country, affected the talking points and all that, but there have never been at the point that we are now. And we have all these liars and hypocrites sitting up here trying to convince people that what this man did and his bogus, I don't care. I am not going to sit here and not say that Trump is not guilty on certain things, but what they're trying to say that he's guilty of is nowhere near the severity of a lot of other things that may have been done under his administration. But not only his administration, every other administration, including this one that's right in here right now, that supposed left or Democratic Party don't want to talk about. They don't want to talk about people out here killing one another. And then when these folks go to jail, they get out. They don't want to talk about that because that would bring about the fact that most of the people who are committing these crimes are, of course, black folks, which we don't want to acknowledge on some aspects. And we got to have that voter base. So once you go in jail, you back out, with no education, no type of spiritual evolvement, mental evolvement, nothing, just still in the same state. Then when you come back out, you do some more shit. Then now all these cities fucked up. And then they act like they don't know what's happening. This guy that just got killed in San Francisco. Yeah, here it is. Who's the Cash App founder? Stabbed to death, So now all these big people, the big heads, and people who, they're feeling the brunt of negligence. basically what's going on is negligence. If what we're seeing happening right here in this country was done in a business, was done far as a person driving a car, negligent, you hit somebody, you know, bullshitting around recklessly, um, and anywhere in any other aspect, there would be a call for action, for justice, for accountability. But you don't see that, even though you know there's reckless drivers at the wheel of this government, reckless drive on both sides. There is no getting away. So, you know, it's funny how that's all you see. You see them talking about this Trump shit. They don't want to talk about the economy. They don't want to talk about how no matter how much you continue to throw Trump up here, no matter how much you continue to talk about democracy and save lives, everything that has been going on has been counterproductive to any of those talking points. Everything they've talked about, and then still want to point the finger and talk about this is what's wrong with the country. All this stuff going on with the dollar, all this stuff going on in with the other countries, starting with China and Russia and the BRICS nations, Brazil, all coming together to work against what this country has been empowered by for years. It's falling apart now. All these other countries are looking for alternatives, and they're getting it. Now Saudi Arabia is moving to take that dollar off of the petrodollar. Nobody wants to talk about that. They don't want to talk about the shit that's literally going to destroy people's financial moves in this country. But they still want everybody to argue about who is right, who is wrong when it comes to Trump and administration and Biden's administration, when, you know, all of it has been chaos. But at the same time, you can't deny the fact that a lot of truths have been revealing themselves throughout this whole time about the hypocrisy and about the dangers of how fake and false this government is and the people that's a part of it, and how they're using their egos and all this other shit to literally endanger a lot of people. Not only physically endanger them, but economically endanger them. All this shit. It's amazing to me to see people who say they vote Democrat, who's struggling, who ain't even a middle class, or even if they are middle class, struggling, living paycheck to paycheck, continuing to support shit that's literally keeping you in that state. Now, I'm not saying everybody's out here lackadaisical, lazy, not wanting to do shit. That's not what it is. Some people may just be tired of this fucking system, and it is for what? It's worthless. The more you put in, the more energy is depleted out of you. And it's sad. So you got Saudi Arabia cutting back oil production, wanting to move away from the petrodollar and moving, and that is the nail in the coffin for this country. But people wouldn't know because they're so busy sitting up here, we're talking about shit that don't even fucking matter. And right here, the value of the US dollar has lost more than 96% of its purchasing power. What? 96%. 96% of its purchasing power since the creation of the Federal Reserve in 1913, which is, you know, the whole Federal Reserve thing. People need to do the, you know, instead of looking for you know, these manipulated beefs back and forth on topics that really are overshadowed by the major issues that we have. You know, people would go and look into the Federal Reserve, find out why it was made and all the stuff that has transpired since it's been. People understand this. 1913, man, the country sold out. Banking powers took over. And they were on the move to take over before then. So, you know, this whole thing, man, while this is happening, they want everybody focused on this, and while they're focused on them, everything that is being said, they're proving it right. And that's the craziest, this is the craziest Twilight Zone type stuff that you could I mean, literally everything that they're doing is literally proving uh the, these supposed whack jobs and conspiracy nuts and all this other stuff, because it's conspiracy nuts on both sides. You know, whether they scream left or right, it's conspiracy people on both sides, and it's conspiracy on no side. Let everybody, you know, it's all a conspiracy all around, you know, when you think of it. But all while this is going on, they want everybody focused on that type of stuff, on what Trump doing. Women out here sitting up here talking about how Trump is this and Trump that. He's this type of person. He's anti-feminist and all this other. He's no good. He's a dog. I don't know how. You know, they say all this shit. You know, where was all that same energy with Bill Clinton, John Edwards? You know, it's sad because you see it for what it is. John Edwards, you know, did some fucked up shit. John, and if people don't know who John Edwards is, look him up. He was popular back then in the Democratic, one of the Democrat poster boys, did some fucked up shit. But all these women around here with this hypocritical way of thinking, I have to put women in it because we are a society that has male and female, men and women. And a lot of the issues in society ain't just male dominated issues. They're just not masculine issues. It's also feminine, female issues that have been taken and used to pit male and female against one another. Instead of bringing male and female close together to work together, we, you know, in respect and in reverence of each other and what they are and what, you know, here for. But you'll have these women sitting up here talking all this crap about what Trump doing. All these black women, and I'm gonna say it from coming from the black community, all these black women, first thing they hear Trump name, oh, I'm glad he locked up. He gonna be locked up. Don't even know what the fuck going on. They can't explain to you why the DA is doing the stuff he's doing. Is he right to do what he's doing? Is he this? Of course, they won't talk about all the other stuff, you know, because a lot of that stuff they've been dealing with and accepting, you know, especially dealing with the pandemic and all this other stuff. But then these same women that sit up here and scream about their rights and how they have been overlooked and all this stuff. When you got stuff like this happening, Nike angers feminists after choosing controversial trans influencer Dylan Mulvaney as new face of its women's sports bra. Days after Bud Light was slammed for putting the can out, which this is the same person that was put on a Bud Light can to represent women. And these same women that's sitting around here, you know, trying to act like, you know, it's all about women. We independent. And that same womanhood is under attack by those that don't even want people to be acknowledged as real women, to be acknowledged as women. And that energy that you have for all this other stuff is nowhere around to even speak against this or even stand up and say, look, there are some out here, but it just shows you what is going on. Why everybody focus on Trump. They literally sitting up here playing these transhumanistic games. They're doing all this crap that has destroyed the economy. They're continuing to destroy it. And I began to look at it and see it as a good thing because this shit is fucking outdated. It's old. It's distorted. It has brought nothing but chaos. It has brought nothing but denial, oppression, suppression, and everything else you can think of that has not benefited human beings or people who live in this country and other countries are dealing with their issues too. But dealing in, I'm just going to particularly stay here, it has brought nothing but pain. Everything is intertwined in this capitalistic society that has been uh, completely usurped by those or cults or groups who don't give a damn about the overall condition of people here. They only want people to be parrots, only want people to be mindless zombies um, that they don't know how to think for themselves, that allow these fake politicians and these fake political pundits, these fake so-called leaders in the world that act like, or well, I'm gonna stay right here in this country. These fake so-called leaders in the communities, whether religious or whether community basis, as far as in the Black community, the Mexican community. I'm not saying all the leaders are like that, but majority of them are fake. Anytime you sit up here, you speak on problems, overlook other problems, and act like they're not there, but yet you're still being affected by that. The same, your people who you claim you represent are affected by the same thing, but you won't even call that out. You only call out one thing, certain thing that you know will gaslight and get everybody worked up about. That stuff is pathetic now to me, because it shows how silly and stupid that shit is now. Because the more you scream that shit, the more it shows how dumb that could be achieved if people don't understand that there's an enemy manipulating everybody, keeping this shit going. Until you see it for what it is, I doubt a person will be able to make I'm praying they do though. And so, these same women, not to get off of that subject, women, just to be a woman is being targeted. And you want to sit up, everybody want to focus on this bullshit, man. I tell the infrastructure, everything fucked up. What is this? A big old 2008 sinkhole that done moved from 400 feet to 1,000 feet. But when you think about it, the infrastructure, every storm, every time you have a light wind or a small storm, lights out. Can't everywhere, not just here in Michigan, everywhere. While people focusing on this stupid shit, who paid what payments to a porn star when you got all these motherfuckers on both sides of the aisle sitting up here paying off shit. Majority of these motherfuckers are pedophiles on both sides, or agree or condone that shit. And they have to condone it, because if they won't even speak on Epstein, and won't even speak on the dealings with people in government finance, which this shit now with the dude over JP Morgan and Chase, who's having hearings about the relationship between Epstein and Chase. All this shit. And people act like, well, you just gotta choose the better of two evils. The fuck out of here. That's one of the dumbest excuses for some shit that I hate to say that, I've heard that so much. You just gotta choose the lesser of two evils. That's a dumbass answer. I'm sorry, but whoever think like that, I respect you. Got much love for you. Pray that you continue to be given blessed and given insight and wisdom. But that's something that I totally cannot accept. Choosing the lesser of two evils is not a proper answer. And I have to say this: if a person believe that, then especially if you are religious or you in a you in the religious um however, since we're here and the majority of it is Christianity, so my thing would be so what would Jesus do? You know how people what would Jesus do? The whole saying, what would Jesus do? Would Jesus say, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go with the lesser two evils"? I don't think that. I don't think that would be the proper. I don't think Jesus would. Yahshua would ever condone or agree with anything like that. Now, the only thing that I could say that could be similar of what could be perceived that could any small similarities is the scripture in the Bible where Yahshua said to render unto Caesar what is render unto God what is God, render unto Caesar what is Caesar, which to me that holds a lot of distortion in it because Caesar, most of the majority of the Caesars were evil men, just like this government. Hmm. When wicked men who were doing who were incest with power, colonialism, imperialism, and all that other stuff. So, to tell people to uh, literally fund your oppressors and all that shit, that's kind of like a big hypocrisy. And we can go in and talk about why would it be in the Bible, but there's a lot of stuff that you can look at in the Bible and could say don't make sense, or you could see how it was taken out of context and misused. And I don't want to get too far off on that, but just saying, what would Jesus do? Would Jesus accept taking the lesser of two evils? I mean, that's the dumbest. I hear that shit all the time. Like, I know I don't like them either, but we just gotta. I don't like this administration. I definitely don't like Trump's. I don't, but I don't like this administration. But it's the lesser of two evils or whatever. And the sad thing about it, look at where we're at right now. So your lesser of two evil turn out to be evil that literally has got more people homeless, more people in debt, the country broke and bankrupt, which has been on that course anyway. Just motherfuckers acting like that wasn't an issue because it's a fake financial system in the first place, fake economy that's rigged, and that's one thing they've been talking about. This is the only reason why they're doing what they're doing with Trump. Like it or not, love him or hate him. I don't agree with him, but I do stand on the truth that comes out his mouth or any other person's mouth. If it's a Democrat and they say something and there was some truth that is put out there, I will back that truth. I will stand on it. I don't give a fuck who you are, what your political, but you gotta understand that um, going against truth, no matter who you are, that opens the doors to all type of shit. I mean, it's true when you see a person say that everything is rigged, and then it seems like all the energy and powers out there to try and stop or hinder or unleash to try and bring every uh, detestable thing out so that people could have a different way of looking at things and condemning and judging and have a negative outlook on when all it goes down to is the fact that they don't want people to know that this shit been rigged from the get-go. All these, I'm just gonna be real. All this stuff talking about get out here and vote and get your vote in and all this shit. You go vote for um this same nonsense over and over again. This same so-called I don't even know how to explain it. It's just fucking retarded. And that is no means, I'm not saying that word, it means just because you can't say certain things now because they start taking it serious and saying, "Oh, that's disrespectful." But you know, it's completely gone way past uh, and way past the area of acknowledging it. Like, goddamn, man, if you can't acknowledge it by now, man, it's because you don't want to acknowledge it. And you got to understand that only thing that's going to lead to is a world of in this reality in which you're seeing it is more conflict, more division, more stuff happening, more people clocking out, more countries calling the U.S. out on its hypocrisy and all this. And then you have the U.S. doing all it can to try and maintain an image that is slowly lost. You know, you can't sit up here teaching and trying to, or I don't even call it teaching, but you can't sit up here calling out other countries, calling out other so-called regimes and governments and talking about giving them this and guidance on this and condemning and judging other places when you shit is just as fucked up as some of these other places. But the perception in this fake ass government is that, oh, we do things properly, we do things according to our constitution and laws and all this shit. When you see it doesn't happen, it doesn't work like that. The laws only work for those who benefit uh this whole fucking institution or corporation, which is this country. And that's basically what it is. It boils down to this country being a corporation. Oh, but I don't. That's not real. That's not real. The U.S. can't be no corporation. Hold on 1 minute. Hold on 1 minute. So okay, now this is what I wanted. Want to make sure I get the right one. Mm-mm. Okay, here we go. I'm just gonna do this one right here. But a long time ago, I had become aware of this, like back when I was um young adult and coming across knowledge, coming across little Jews that, of course, back then nobody wasn't paying no attention to. Certain people were though. But at the end of the Civil War, Congress reconvened and passed what was called the United States Reorganization Act of 1871, also known as the Act to Provide a Municipal Government for the District of Columbia. However, this government was different. It was structured as a foreign-owned corporation called the United States. It even adopted the Republic Constitution, but changed only one word. They changed the word Constitution for the United States to the Constitution of the United States. Therefore, the change made the Constitution a possession of the government corporation and not the possession of the people. The only power this government had was to govern over matters of commerce within the District of Columbia. What we call state of your state is exactly a sub corporation of the United States Corporation engaged in matters of commerce. This state is not to be confused with the Union State, your state, which is a part of the original pre-Civil War republic. Therefore, the United States Corp is foreign to the United States as its geographic boundaries are restricted to the land area of the District of Columbia. This distinction has been recognized in numerous court cases before the U.S. Supreme Court. Don't take our word for it. Read it from the book Cooperative Federalism by Gerald Burnham. So, you know, this country here is, it's a lot of secrecy on the founding and all the over the years what has transpired, but this is a corporation. This is not a country that is meant built for people really to achieve an American dream like we've all been taught. Well, in my opinion, many make it through. That's because you have to go through these different indoctrinated procedures to try and make it in this country. But a lot of people had it a little bit easier back then because stuff wasn't as dominated as it is now. Hell, the economy wasn't as big as it is now. Hell, the wages wasn't as big as they are now. Hell, the price of food wasn't as high as it is now. But you still had inflation. You still had things that happened in the past that were leading up to incidents over and over again, which lead to where we at now. And it all comes back to not only this country being an incorporated entity, which is a corporation, and many of the business dealings and all that stuff go on in the District of Columbia. So when these folks go in there, they're not going in there, these fake politicians and all these folks going in there acting like they are fighting for your right, your rights, your ability to be heard and be represented, which is also false to a lot of people. Like, what if you don't agree with either party? You're independent, but you don't want to be, you're independent, but whether you moderate, far right, far left, conservative, or however, you don't, you who do you vote for? Let's say if you, this is a prime example. Let's say if you are not feeling anything of what anybody is saying, you don't have no one to an option to go to. You only have so many on each side to represent. If you do have independents, they may be from the Green Party or from a different party, libertarian, or maybe whole different moderates or conservative views that you still don't agree with. So who do you have? And the sad thing about it, the people who are they don't appeal to people. All these fake ass politicians and shit are trying to appeal to people who they're only appealing to those people who share those same sentiments and want everybody to share those sentiments, even if it means bribing folks, um, distorting facts and information, which basically is all this shit is to keep motherfuckers voting in that frame of mind, while they enrich those donors and those lobbyists that want the money to come in through taxes and everything else to through programs that are not helping society or helping people at all, that they fund and invest in. Just the whole deal about that DA and how people are talking about, well, Soros funds him. See, nobody want to talk about that. They only want to talk about the bullshit. But we don't want to talk about how these folks gain their wealth while they're in these positions of supposed power, fucking over people, create gaslighting, keeping circumstances going that while the country is falling apart, you can't even go out of the country without being targeted. Mexico, they're killing people, kidnapping. Other areas of the world you're going into now is a danger zone. Americans have a crosshair on their back because a lot of people look at America as being the cause of their problems and the hypocrisy that they put out here. And then you have people here literally caught up on these sides claiming this shit. And you don't, the empathy, you don't understand, you don't see what's happening on the other side of the script. So with other countries, it's amazing how we've gone this far with the accusations of this country blowing up another country's pipeline, which caused a lot of discomfort and unease in these European countries. And that's why Europe are seeing a lot of the protests and a lot of the stuff going on. It's not just because of whatever they say it is, the farming issues. It's that and more. France is pension reform and more. It's because these folks, these people over there, human beings, see what their whack ass fake governments and the people who are supposed to be there to assist them are literally oppressing them and oppressing them more and more. They literally want people to be working their lives away, spending, being taxed, and you see the value of everything around you getting raising higher and higher. You're working literally just to pay off debts and to pay for shit that's sky high because of these phony motherfuckers. I mean, I may not could put it in a perspective like other somebody else can put it in, but I try to put it in because I see it for what it is from everyday perspective of dealing and people around me. The hardship stories or the stories you hear about interactions with businesses, banks, courts, however, you see this shit. Even jobs. It's amazing how this just seems to go that way. And like I said, nobody wants to talk about the real stuff. But no matter how much it's being dodged, you're not gonna be able to escape it. It's almost like you're not going to be able to escape the truth that's headed our way. That's already here. People just got to become aware of it, and a lot of people are aware of this. It's thankful. I'm thankful to be blessed to be able to think for myself and trust in God and trust that the plan that God has is mightier than the plan that these fake individuals, these governments, these titles that people with titles hold, all this stuff. Who cares? They're nothing. They to me that they represent a faction of something that is totally devoid of that type of God energy or power, because this system here is a beast system, and it must come down. The beast system is what we are living under. I mean, that's my opinion. That's how I see it. A lot of people can see it for what it is, but if you agree, more power to you. If you don't, more power to you. But this is how I see it. This is the beast system. Everything the beast system offered, or the descriptions of the beast system, is prevalent. You see it. You see it for what it is. But people only want to pick and choose what they see and whatnot. But it is what it is. I just want to get on here praying that everybody will be able to arise and be empowered in truth. And that the truth about this fake that's going on around us could be continue to be illuminated. But my biggest prayer and intent and want for our people is for truth, disclosure of everything that's been hid, suppressed, to keep people from actually understanding the world that we are living in. And the prayer is that once people understand how much we've been lied to, how much we've been led down a dark path with limited light, now that light is shining and getting brighter and brighter. And once you get to the end of that tunnel where that light at, it opens up to a brand new experience, a brand new understanding of things. brand new ways of looking at things, brand new ways of living and dealing with one another, not only here but everywhere else. And I honestly believe that is a lot of the ways why this world has been kept the way it is. But in this country has played a huge role in a lot of the corrupt and crazy stuff is done over the years that has touched everybody, you know. So, we're beckoning our own destruction with the reckless behavior, negligent behavior of so-called people in power and so-called power and those that give them that power. And the fear that is being caused or put out there on mass level to push people into accepting that fake power and giving them a pedestal to stand on, pointing and judging somebody else. You sitting right here, you right here cheerleading and championing a beast system, and then have the nerve to want to preach or want to teach or want to try and give some type of guidance. You gotta understand that gets to a point where that cannot work, because some people's spiritual continence or their grounding in truth is more powerful than that illusion that a lot of people walk around with. So it just won't be resonating. But I greet everybody as I came in the greeting words of peace, praying that each and every person will continue to be blessed, to overcome and navigate through these trying times, and that love and that understanding and respect will begin to flourish amongst peoples all over. And then everybody that's affected from all this nonsense, man, they third eyes and awakenings and all those things that need to progress in each individual person can come about so that many can see it for what it is. We can stop being played like fiddles, used as tokens in somebody else's war and somebody else battle of command and conquer and control, while using you as literally for nothing, as just a fuck rag. I like to say, I'm gonna say it like that. Excuse my but a fuck rag. Used just to wipe off the access. You know, you can see that in everything that's happening. People complain and complain all they want, man. This is what people have continually accepted, continuing to allow themselves to be caught up in. And to people on both sides understand that and willing to call each other out. Still, Democrats willing to call out Democrats for the hypocrisy and all that crap going on within themselves, and Republicans and among themselves and those in other groups and that, until they're willing to call it out. I mean, this stuff will continue to get played along down the road with the event. And I look at it like this: the eventual intent of these wicked people and groups and organizations or cults or cabal, whatever you want to call them, is the destruction of what they can't control. So if you can't control people no more, your people no more, you can't tax them no more, you can't get them to go along with your wicked and corrupt agendas no more, because people are waking up to how they're being used. Then the only other option is then, and this is the sad thing to see, because it can go there, because you see shit in the past, how corrupt and wicked these folks were. They were literally trying to destroy people, destroy shit. We can't get no control over it. We can't lose control. We got to continue to have it like it is. We can't. Literally, you can destroy everybody or try to in the process just to maintain power. It's fucking sad, man. This is the type of shit that people champion. and then want to say lesser of two evils. Now, all it takes is before I get off here, all it takes is a little mind opening up the mind to look at things from a different vantage point sometimes, and to literally stop feeding into all this force fed shit. Start looking into other stuff that's not force fed. You know, stuff that's force fed, it's obvious it's force fed for a reason. Stuff that's not force fed or stuff that's kind of glossed over and pushed to the side and hopefully nobody acknowledges it or even pays attention. That's also done for a reason. So people, research, opening up a person's mind to understand that it may could be more things, and it's wonderful experience to understand and see things differently, especially when you spiritually have awakened. Some people are spiritually have awakened, and they are the epitome of an awakened spirit, an awakened soul, and I thank God for them. Just like I thank God for those who are still struggling or those who are still walking in darkness, because we are all. I look at it, and I'm gonna end with this. We all have been greatly abused. From the black community, everybody in the black community. The whole argument is we've been abused through slavery, but we've all been abused. Everybody have been abused. These abuses that we linger on to, these are small compared to the big. We can scream about slavery all day about what happened through slavery. That's still not going to help you at the end of the day when these folks are telling you to pay your taxes, when they're taking your money you work for, sending it to other countries, sending it to immigrants so they can buy their votes, so they can have these people in the country. So when it's time to run an election, they can have votes. I mean, if you're a Democrat or if you're a Republican, you know, we about small government and this and that, but our money is going toward wars that started unjustly or started from lies or misinformation or fake news or however, or the clandestine operations taking down governments across the planet, targeting regimes, as they call them, that were unsympathetic to interests of this country, which is power, control, money, which the citizens don't see, or those countries in which these fake governments, puppets are put up, in places that have resources, which the people of that area don't see. It's the major benefactors, the corporations, the banks, the wicked politicians that are in bed with these puppet governments and shit. All of it got to be seen for what it is. Nobody is no saint in this shit. I don't get it how people sit up here and act like this country is like this country ain't done no wrong. Like a lot of shit is karma. Like a lot of stuff happening is just the evil and the insidious shit that has been done in the dark that is slowly um being brought to the light, and a lot of that karma is coming back on everybody, and a lot of it is self-induced because we've allowed it, because we want. What is that scripture in the Bible? My people are killed in Hosea. My people are killed for lack of knowledge. Of course, different groups take it. Oh, that means us, black people. That means us. My people killed for lack of knowledge. We've been saying that for how long? And obviously, ain't nobody paying attention. It's black folks still out here doing dumb shit to one another, and missing the picture, missing the whole point. Countries, nations, political, religious, everybody, all dying because of lack of knowledge and of truth, being used, being abused, being taken advantage of because of kind of like back in the days when they kept the common folks from learning kept them ignorant, only good enough to just plant and farm and have skilled trades, while all the elites were the ones who were learned, who were literate, who knew history and facts on shit, and so they were the ones uh, literally fleecing everybody and making it seem like they were justified because they were knowledgeable. But they were only knowledgeable because they kept other people down. It's sad, man. A lot of that shit, a lot of the stuff that was going on in history, like back then, a lot of that stuff been going on back then. It's still going on now. It's just totally repurposed, imaged into something modern that people will not detect, but it's the same mindset, it's the same mentality. Every kind, and even when you look at history, at the fall of civilizations, like the fall of Greece, fall of Rome, fall of this, fall of that, like people act like this stuff don't, like all this stuff happened back then, and oh, it don't happen no more. Like it just stopped. These things never happen anymore. No. So I just pray that everybody stay a leg up ahead and do what they can, man. And God bless them to navigate through this in truth. So with that, I leave you as I came. Green words of peace. See ya.